Hi, and welcome to our Game On Expert interviews. I am Jean Barry, and you can't see me right now, so let me go fix my camera. There we are. Too funny. I am Jean Barry. Welcome. Always some technical thing going on, right? And I'm thrilled to introduce you to my very good friend, Lisa. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her because I actually have to read her bio because I would just go off and wax poetic. So let me just tell you what she says about you, and then I'll tell you what I say about her. So Lisa's passion in life is to love and support women. With her unique blend of expertise in facilitation, coaching, energy clearing, and laughter yoga, she supports her clients to shift their core energy and have more healing, joy, and love in their life and easily achieve their goals. She brings joy and laughter to everything she does, making her an extraordinary support for living one's life to the fullest. And I am so excited to have you here today, Lisa. I think we've been talking about this forever,
Forever,
forever.
forever.
And finally, I get to have you on my Game On show. So thank you. Hey, Cindy, thanks for hopping in. If you are here with us live today, please give us a little hi, and so we know that you're here. And we're going to be having a conversation about relationships, about energy, about all kinds of interesting things that we've done together. And if you have questions along the way, of course, please feel free to type those in the chat as well, and we will make sure to answer those. And so, Lisa, welcome.
Thank you. I'm just like honored to be here.
Aw, that's so sweet. I love in these interviews to have and to support the people inside of my community with everything. And the truth is that business isn't just business. It's about our whole life. It's about our energy. It's about our relationships. It's about our spiritual life. It's all of those things. And so the idea that we're just, you know, going to go do business is never what's true. And so I love bringing on this level of expertise inside of relationships. So can you tell I've known you for 22 years now. I had to actually go look back and say, "Oh my God, how
I
long have
know
I known?"
when I read that, I went, "What? No, we're not." I was like, well, "We're not that old."
Well, see, there's that. Hey, Pamela, so glad you came to hang out with us today. And it's true, we're not that old. And so
Exactly.
it's all good. And so can you tell the people who are watching a little bit about you and what brought you into this line of work in helping women with relationships?
Sure. So most like I the early part of my years of working and all that, I worked in a corporate office and learned a whole bunch of stuff and did all that. And um, knew that there was something more. Like I was like, okay, this can't just be what life is go to work and come home and take care of whatever you need to take care of and then go back to work. I was like, that can't just be it. And honestly found where I could take different sorts of classes and stuff like that to grow like as a human being rather than a college class. It's just like taking classes to grow as a human, like develop your brain possibly in a different way. So I started that journey. And in one of those, of course, is where I met Jean. Um, and really, truly, like through that, um,
Found this niche, really.
yeah, it
Yeah.
found all the things that I was looking for. Someone would show up, like someone showed up in a class sometime, and I was like, I think we need to go practice with her. Yes, okay, let's do that. And then someone else would show up, and it's like, oh yeah, that her or him or whoever it was. And once I realized, like, truly listening, it was truly listening to myself or to my higher power or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, it's like listening to that voice, then I could actually get the answers as to where I was going. Now, mind you, it took me a little bit to hone that, but that's what I did, and relationships kept showing up. Relationship with your spouse, relationship with a significant other, relationship with your money, relationship with your health, relationship with whatever it is. And that just kept showing up and showing up. So I was like, I'm pretty sure that's where I'm supposed to go.
Oh, exactly,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
And I think that a lot of people when they think of relationships, they think of like a romantic relationship. Like that's the one thing that kind of shows up in that. And yet I love that you said that, there's all these other relationships with everything else. And
yes.
you and I have done a lot of work inside of intuition and listen, like you say, listening to your higher self and that kind of thing. So what does intuition have to do with relationships? And let's just hone it in a little bit and let's talk about relationships with maybe a significant person in your life.
Sure. Well, so most of the time when people talk about their intuition, they're talking about like that gut instinct, that thing like, yeah, like I want to pursue that, or yeah, that person, or it could be like where it's like a gut instinct of no, you know, like absolutely not. And then you walk away from that. So there's that, and it's a connection that you can get, and it's a connection internally. You get a connection with someone else, but you get a connection with yourself. So that whole dynamic of having the connection with yourself, that's what you start building on. You just keep building it because you get to where you trust that, which is just about trusting yourself. So the more you listen, the more you trust yourself, and then you trust yourself with a romantic relationship or a significant other, where it's just like, that, especially just meeting someone or starting to date, it's just like, okay, is this the right person? And you can almost instantly tell, I'm not going to pursue that. Nice person, they're great, not for me. Nice person, they're great. Yeah, maybe I do want to pursue that I like what he or she or they are offering. So it's just like, okay, I'll pursue that. And it's they have their stuff, so they may pursue also, they may not. However, yourself is the key on that to
Honoring
me,
yourself. Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
end up yeah, you end up trusting what you're getting.
Right. That makes
Yeah.
total sense. And some reason I'm getting total feedback now, and I'm trying to figure out what happened and why I'm getting feedback in my ears of myself talking.
Okay.
Okay, hang on.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know, it was a moment. Just a little echo of me in the room. And actually that makes me think of this whole thing is ultimately is this whole thing which you started at the beginning of following your intuition, like following those signs and everything else that shows up. Some of you may recognize that I'm in a different room than my studio today. And so I'm actually at my daughter's in Las Vegas. We're helping her set up this new home. And Lisa and I, before we got on the line, started to talk about, well, our relationship with our space. And this is really an interesting dynamic because I think that most people don't really even think of that as an interaction,
Mm,
between the space or even with like money or things that are kind of abstract concepts. We don't
yeah.
think of them necessarily as a relationship. So can you just talk a little bit about that, about, our relationship with things or money or
Things.
space or like all of that?
Yeah. Well, everything is energy. So if you have a rock, it's energy. You don't. The rock could have been in a river and the water was running over it. It's all energy. The universe is energy. So when you are with a a rock, no, I'll use something else. It's just the rock just came in my head. I'm not sure why, but it's like you have, because you're all energy. Who you are is energy. Your energy and whatever you're with or next to or at or in, you're relating to that. Your energy is relating to that energy.
So
So
interacting with
there's,
it, or there's the
yeah,
intersection of that. Okay.
yep. There's always something um, going on between you as an energy field and an energy person with whatever is there. So like me and the camera, me and my computer. Of course you're like thinking, oh yeah, well of course that's energy. Well, no, but it's like it's energy in a way that, like, that energy could actually be an energy that comes in that, like, I don't like, or that like makes me like, oh my god, that's way too much energy, that kind of thing. So, and there's always a way to quell energy if you want, or amplify energy, or even with negative energy there's a way to um, make that, uh, I call it curing it. Like you cure it, or you make it go, the
You
negative energy,
neutralize it, or
yeah,
yeah.
neutralize it, or it can go off into the ether where it needs to go to be recycled. So there's that. But like in your home or apartment or office or whatever, there is energy all the time. Plus, people leave energy. So if someone was in the space before, living there or working there, they've left energy there. And so there's a lot of times where you want to clear that just to have a clear space.
Yeah.
So,
Now, commonly, in a lot of holistic circles, they'll talk about saging or something like that.
see,
I
yep,
I suspect that you have some other deeper things that you can do to actually do that.
yeah. Well, I've been trained in dowsing, and the dowsing will point to, um, first off, like I can tell if there's a negative vortex or a positive vortex. So there's both in the world. And
So
so if space, go ahead.
hang on. I want to back up on that one a little
Okay.
bit. So on this whole idea of positive or negative, does that really refer to like the direction of it as opposed to the value system behind it? Like, we tend to say, it's good or bad or positive or negative. I'm kind of curious what you mean by that negative, positive.
Okay. So for the most part, yes, there is a direction, and I'm trying to remember if I have it correct, because so the positive goes, so I'm like like I'm thinking of my dowsing rod. So the positive goes this way, so it would be clockwise, goes clockwise. Now I'm probably backwards on a
Right.
screen. And then a negative goes counterclockwise.
Okay.
So now if there's a negative energy, or a negative vortex, sorry, you can have a negative energy in a space too. And that's relatively, well, it's all relatively, to me, easy to take care of, to cure, or to have it move on. The vortexes are usually permanent. So a positive vortex you would want to either enhance or just keep where it's working in the space, because it's making the space happy and joyful and high vibration. Negative vortexes you usually want to
Oh, so the
stop.
negative, what you're defining as negative is it sucks the energy out of the room.
Yes, yeah, and can
It's
be
a
and can be
leech.
very,
It's a
yeah, it
leech.
can be very disruptive. It definitely can be a disruption.
Okay, so
And if
this
this,
can then relate to relationships themselves. Like some
correct,
people are have those
Yes.
same kind of energies where they
Yeah,
suck all the
exactly.
energy out of you, or they're positive and they actually give you more energy.
Exactly.
Okay, I understand now what you're saying for positive and negative.
Yes. Yes. So the negative energy you can, or the negative vortex you can cure, and then have it just, it'll stop. Like that energy will just stop where it is, and then it won't affect your space anymore.
Can you do that with people?
Yeah, and yes, you actually can. Now,
Fascinating.
you can, so quick note on that though, you cannot do it without their permission.
Okay. All right.
So they have to give you permission to work on them. So, but yes, I personally can douse a person. You bet I can. And but it's you really truly do have to have their permission to be able to do that. And some people don't
They like,
necessarily
well,
want you
they
to
like
do
how
that.
they are. Right.
Correct.
Okay, cool. That makes total sense. So we're going to bounce around a little bit here, but I think it all relates together because this is,
Yes.
you say something and then it pops something in my head and I'm like, well, wait, now let's pop back to this relationship thing then. Okay. Because
Yeah. Wait, let's go back to relationships.
yeah,
Well, it is related.
it is. It's all related. It's all together. So in a relationship, and we talked a little bit at the beginning about, just meeting someone, but then, you have the kind of longer term relationship where you're with someone for a while. And I know that I've heard you talk about that it's not just you and them in the relationship. Like there's all these beliefs. There's the thoughts that you have. There's the energies. How do you then cure an energy between two people that that
Mhm.
they're both motivated to fix, right?
Okay. Okay. So that right there that you said that they're both motivated to fix, that right there, that's the first step. Honest to goodness, that's the first step. As long as both parties are willing to grow in an area that maybe they're stuck in, then that makes a huge difference. Um, to me, or what I would have people do is my the list. I always have everybody write a list. So if you want to be in a romantic relationship, you write a list of that perfect partner. What is it? What is it that you want in that perfect partner? If you're already in a relationship, well, and stuff isn't working, what's not working? That's okay. Write down what's not. Most of the time, I try positive, not negative. So positive energy, but a lot of times we have to look at something that's negative so we can work on it to be positive. So write down what's not working. And then you go into, once you have that, you have to find out how it makes you feel. Because feeling, you know, just working with the romantic partner, tall, dark, and handsome. Okay, so how does that make me feel to have a tall, dark, and handsome man standing next to me who's my partner? It makes me feel safe and it makes me feel loved. So those are two feelings. So you have to get to the feelings to see what needs to be worked on. Because regardless if he's tall, dark, and handsome, what I want to do is feel safe and loved. The characteristics aren't necessarily that, it's just like, but if the guy or the girl or the person standing here makes me feel safe and loved, well, then I get that in spades. It's just like, all right, I got that. Same with a list for being in a partnership that you're already in. Write down, okay, let's say this isn't working. Well, how does it make you feel because it's not working? So then, it's just like, well, it makes me feel scared or fearful or whatever I have lists of feelings that I use because a lot of times people can't come up with really truly how it does make them feel. So let's just say there's a fear. And it's like, okay, well, what are you afraid of? Because more than likely, it's not what's happening, it's something from your past. So then we work on that to bring forward something to transform it. And then more than likely, whatever the person was doing won't bother you anymore.
Yeah, I think that
That's
that's really
normally how that
true.
goes.
Yeah, yeah. No, I do remember one time having this very upsetting situation in my relationship where, like I didn't like to be late. And it's it's so funny to, I wanted to be on time, but when you have a family and everything and they're dawdling and doing their thing. And the day that I finally realized like, oh, I'm the one who's suffering here. No one else cares, right? None of them care. And so
Correct.
I'm like, oh, well, I'm getting in the car and going. You guys can do whatever you want. And they were all so shocked that day. I think that that whole day they were like, oh, okay, we'll come with you then. Like it wasn't something for them. It was for me to take ownership of it and say, what is my relationship to this? It had absolutely nothing to do with them whatsoever.
Correct. Correct. And then you get to make choices that work for you. Like then it's just like, and you are empowered to choose. You're empowered to choose what you need to choose, which
Yeah.
is phenomenal.
Yeah, so Pamela says your questions are so helpful and on point, Lisa. And then she says, I'm with you on that, Jean. Exactly. That we just it's us, it's only us here. And I think that that comes back to really what you do, Lisa, is getting people in relationship with themselves.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
finding this piece of self-love and hanging out there. So what kind of methods do you use? Like when people work with you, what kind of things do you start with? Like what do and you mentioned the list, like asking
Mhm.
your, and how do I want to feel? So making
Yep.
a list of what I desire and then, how do I feel inside of this?
Yeah.
What kind of things happen then?
Well, then we use a process. There's a process to go through. And I know Jean and I have used this process for years and years. And we learned it from Alamea Will. She was the woman who taught us this process, and we've tweaked it here and there. So my process is called true timing process. So you're actually going to write down if you have a focus. So let's say your focus is, a let's say your focus is your relationship with your significant other that you're already in a relationship with. Then you write down, like, it's kind of like your big why or the purpose of that relationship, because there is a purpose to it. There's a why that you're in that. Then you go through, there's benefits, strengths, and then you get actions for that purpose. Never do you look at what's wrong, because we're never focused on that. Because in a relationship, it doesn't matter if it's a relationship with yourself, with your partner, or with
Mhm.
money or health or whatever. It is, stuff will always come up that can go wrong or that is an obstacle. We never focus on that. We're not fixing anything. We're just always focused on the purpose or the why. So then it's a nice, lovely process to go through. And it's all about listening to what the answers are that you get for you. So I'm never telling you what works in your relationship because how would I know? I'm not there. But and your partner knows. So it's great to do with partners, I think. Personally, I think it's a great process to do with partners, just to see if you guys are on the same page, or in some area. Like you can do it in different areas of your relationship. So yeah, but that process I think is probably one of the like best things I ever learned to use.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And it comes down to a lot of times people listen to their intuition or they hear that little still voice or they've known it. They're like, "Ah, I knew that." Yet they have
Mm-hmm.
such a hard time without some support to actually take action on it,
Right.
like to follow through
Yep.
and do the thing or say the thing or
Yeah,
um
the accountability part is built into the process.
yeah.
So getting the actions and being accountable is built in, which for me, because I'm not one who really truly wants to be accountable for anything. I'm like, I know. I'm like, good. I have a kid and everything, but he's a grown up now. I don't have to be accountable to anything. But that when you write down those actions and when you do them, the actions are where the miracles are. That's
Yeah.
what happens. Is that you do your actions, and if you do it like week after week, the miracles start showing up in those actions, which
Right.
is
Right.
like gold. It's just like, oh,
Exactly.
that's so awesome.
So let's just drill down a little bit into the thing that actually you mentioned at the beginning, which is, it could be a relationship with an inanimate object or something. And you said, my camera, which I think is really interesting because there are a lot of people, especially inside of my community, who are business people and are inventing things or creating things. They're like, but I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be out here and be seen by the public. And so now we're in this horrible paradox thing saying I don't want to be seen and yet I want to, people to see my product and see the thing that I'm marketing and everything else like that. And
Right.
so it's almost interesting to say, well, what is the relationship then with the camera
Mm-hmm.
and then the stories that showed up? And ultimately, what I'm hearing you say is that you don't have to find out what's wrong here. Like we don't have to go down this thing and saying, I don't want to, I don't like this because we don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, we care deeply. We care about all of you deeply. But but
Totally.
but this idea of saying, well, what is the purpose? And see, I like this, and that's what you said at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the purpose of turning on that camera and being seen? Ah, okay. Well, if we start to focus on that,
Yep.
that's extraordinary.
Yeah, I had before I came home, someone in the office goes, I said, "Oh, I'm doing an interview today," and she goes, "Oh, you are so brave." Oh, and that was not a word that like I thought of as like this is brave, but when she said it, I went, "Oh, I bet there is a lot of people like this is the thought that came up. I bet there is a lot of people that this really is something that is hard for them to do." Is get on a camera and talk to because let's face it, I'm sitting here talking to a camera with Gene on my screen and lights on and la la la, and I'm like going because I've done it probably more than some and way less than a lot of others. I don't think anything of it. Like it does. There's not a thought about it. I just plug in my camera and it goes on, and I'm like, okay, as long as I can see me, I'm good. And but I do get that there are people who are like, oh, people would be able to see me and then judge me. See, that's where because I did that too when I first was getting on doing anything live, doing anything on camera. It's like people are going to judge me, people are going to da da da, and I'm like, well, so what?
Yeah, yeah.
And
So, go ahead.
not that it's not, it's valid. It's a valid feeling. It really is. And really truly looking at your purpose or your big why concentrating on that, because then you're reaching the people who need to know you, who need to see you. So that's where that goes.
Right, right. And staying focused on that, right? Staying
Yep.
focused on that.
Stay
Of
focused
course,
on
I know
that.
inside the process you go deeper in, even benefits, like what do they get for
Yeah,
having had that
exactly.
happen? Yeah, like that's
Exactly.
that's awesome. So Cindy says Lisa's ability to teach us how to ask questions and listening to the answers is life changing. Thank you so much for that, Cindy. And yes, I
Thanks,
100% agree
Cindy.
with you that that is really true. Pamela says, Lisa, yes, you are brave, Lisa, and a natural on the screen, which is very
Oh,
cool.
uh,
Excellent.
yes, thank you. Thank you so much, you two. I love you both. And I am one who um, I grew up knowing I I like kind of being the center of attention. I like it. I'm okay with it. Give me a microphone, I'm good. So to me that's fun, and I know when to bring that back to just taking a breath, being internal,
Yeah,
and not being that.
yeah.
So because I have, for me, that's a balance. I need to balance that. So
So that actually brings me to kind of the next thing I wanted to bring up, which is that you are also a laughter yoga instructor. Well, you instruct other trainers, teacher trainer, how to be how to laugh better. No, actually,
yes.
how to be. So, first of all, tell our viewers what laughter yoga is.
Okay. Laughter yoga is actually an exercise. So it's done in a group, and it's laughing for no reason. And the purpose of that is to, first off, deep breathe. Um, if you laugh for 30 to 40 minutes, it's like walking 5 miles. It's a big deal because you're laughing and getting in all that oxygen. So all of that will oxygenate. See, I would laugh at that. Anyway, you get oxygen in your blood and that kind of thing. So it's a great form of stress relief. Really good with, it's like laughter yoga is great with kids, with seniors, all that, because it gets people out of their heads and really and truly does relieve stress. Like it's a huge stress relief. So I
No,
do
I
use
love
it.
this. Yeah. And I
I,
love that you use it inside of your courses and you do
yes.
teach it in groups as well, but the fact that you bring that level of embodiment
Hmm.
to like living your purpose or that kind of thing. I think it really is that piece where this is why we don't have to focus on the negative or the things that those voices in our head, because all you need to do is
Exactly.
laugh at it. So Pamela says, "Let's hear you laugh."
And then it becomes contagious.
I couldn't help myself.
That's what happens.
That's beautiful. Ah, see, now we all feel better already, don't we? I hope
Yes.
you're all laughing at home too, because this is truly, this is the joy level that Lisa brings into the world, and I really honestly hope that you are feeling that the love that Lisa is, and it is such an extraordinary space to be in with you, and I know that yes, Pamela says it's contagious. I'm laughing too. Of course you are.
Yay.
Yay.
Uh,
I just needed to sigh through that.
I
So
know. Take a big deep
now that
breath
we've got
in.
the breath, I know, breath in. All right. So you do a lot of extraordinary things on the planet. And so, yes, you do offer your relationship magic course, which is about getting in relationship with yourself, your spirituality and actually open up relationships with significant others. And I've
Mhm.
seen extraordinary things happen with your clients um, inside of there where magic just opens up.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That is truly one of the most magical courses that I do. It just is. It's just like, oh man, this stuff that happens in people having, people getting married, people meeting people, like, or constantly meeting people. Like, it's just like, I can't believe all these men just came out of the woodwork, and it's just like, really? Okay. And where they had like, she's like, I don't even know who to ask out because there's nobody showing up, and stuff like that. And I was like, going, miracles
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've absolutely seen that inside of your world with people showing, just passing through and like, cool. That is
yeah,
really fabulous. You also do dowsing for home, the relationship with your home, like we talked
yep,
about those vortexes and that kind of thing. Of course, laughter yoga, you do that
yeah.
as well. And all kinds of extraordinary other ancillary things. But where can people find you,
So you can go to
Lisa
my
Bouta?
website. It's just lisabouta.com, LISABOUTA.com.
Okay, I put it
Everything's
in there as well.
okay.
It is on our
Everything's
chat.
there. So yeah, and it's just lisa@lisabouta.com if you need to email me. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, so if you have questions, of course you can uh, add them here now, but if you have questions and you're watching this later,
Mm-hmm.
let me just finish your email. Okay. Um, If you have questions, of course, you can send Lisa an email directly. You can find us both on Facebook. You can ask questions there. You can
Correct.
also put them in the feed here. We will find them eventually. It's actually usually better after the broadcast to go ahead and send us a direct message,
Yeah,
either on Messenger or on email, and then we'll make sure to get back to you and answer all your questions.
absolutely.
And so I'm just going to ask you one more question. I'm just formulating it now. Because we do everything intuitively, right?
I know, I know.
So, I think I'm just going to go to what what would you like our viewers to know? Like, what is it that's like, what is the one thing that's showing up for you today in relationship? Like, what's that last thing?
Um, well, first off, there is um, always something to be grateful for.
Mm.
So, no matter what, with any relationship and with any relationship with any person, place, or thing, there's something to be grateful for. And that gratitude and using your energy to lift your vibration, that to me, those two things are kind of cornerstones of how I run my life. So always looking to up my vibration or up my energy and um, being grateful. I I'm extremely grateful for how my life has been and the people in it, believe me. So extremely grateful.
That is awesome. And I feel your love all the time. And I so appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us and having this
Thank
conversation
you.
today. And of course, if you want to reach out to Lisa, you can find her at lisabuddha.com or lisa@lisabuddha.com. It's pretty
Yep.
simple.
Pretty simple.
I know. And so thank you. Thanks for being here today. Thank you all for viewing today. And if you're watching later, definitely give us a little thumbs up or some hearts here in our viewer as well.
Yay.
And you will find this also on my YouTube channel if you want to see any of the other game on expert interviews. You will find those there as well. You can also hop into the Game Changers Facebook group, and where we discuss all things game changing, from business to body to relationships to money, all those things are inside the Game Changers Facebook group. So thank you so much for hanging with us today, and we will all
Thank
see
you.
you soon. All right,
Bye.
bye.